It's alive! It's alive!
Hey guys, Asher coming at you today with another Raid Shadow Legends Champion Guide. Welcome to the video, guys. Glad to have you here talking about, oh gosh, probably, you can make the case, one of the best, if not the best epics in the game. It is GODSEEKER ANIRI. Truly, when you look at epic kits inside Raid Shadow Legends, there's only a handful, maybe about 5, that really stand out. We're talking Geomancer, Dark Gale, GODSEEKER ANIRI, Akemptum, right? We're talking about champions like that have a kit so unique, so powerful, that they really could be a legendary champion, and they'd still be one of the better legendary and most used legendary champions out there in the game. First off, a few shout-outs. So we have Tanner, video number 4, trying to get a GODSEEKER guide. We have Jaleel, GODSEEKER ANIRI next. I just pulled her, wondering if she's worth the books. I can't read or speak today, apparently. Yes, she is. Spoiler, she's worth the books. Tanner again. I see you, Tanner. I see you. Tanner again, I see you. Samantha says, great God, Dash. Can we get one on GODSEEKER ANIRI? Absolutely we can. We have Crocus says, how do you feel about GODSEEKER ANIRI build guide? Would love an updated version of her, as I've been utilizing her in my Clan Boss and Hydra runs. Still not be able to beat Hydra yet because I don't have enough champions, but GODSEEKER puts out 500k. Only 2 weeks away from Syl. Oh, so it must be close. This is actually a couple weeks old, this comment, so congratulations on the Syl of the Drakes. Tanner again. Tanner again! And then we have Julian, such a beast champion. Can you make it GODSEEKER ANIRI? Guys, listen. I'll spare you the requests, but yeah, probably the most requested, or certainly up there, champions on the channel. So here we go. Let's start with her base stats here, guys. The only downside of GODSEEKER ANIRI, and I'm really picking at straws here to try to find a downside on this amazing champion, but is her base HP. 15k is pretty dang low. So that's a bummer, but we can do our best to mitigate that. On the Blade of Blessing, the rest of her stats are fine. Defense especially is good at 1250 almost. Blade of Blessings, her A1 ability, attacks one enemy, then heals the ally with the lowest HP by 5% of their max HP. Cannot heal this champion. Damage is defense based on this champion. Quest for Meaning, this is a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Again, definitely worth booking this champion. I can't think of many champions who your epic skill tomes are better served to benefit. Attacks all enemies, heals all allies by 15% of their max HP, then decrease the duration of all buffs on enemies by 1 turn, increase the duration of all buffs on allies. So man, oh man, a lot to unpack here, right? We get the AoE attack, we get the heal, which again, 15% is not the best heal out there based on their max HP, but it still is a heal that definitely adds up, and it gets more heal if you book it, if you get Masteries, and because of her passive. We'll talk about that in a moment too, right? So it's actually a little bit better than it reads. On top of that, the extending the duration of buffs on your team, on your allies, is one of the most underrated and powerful abilities in the game. You're taking increased defense from 2 turns to a 3-turn, increased speed from 2 turns to a 3 turns. All the great buffs, strengthen, everything out there, increased attack. 99% of buffs out there in this game are on a 3-turn cooldown and last for 2 turns, you know, from the better champions in the game. This essentially brings them up to 3 turns, which is so valuable for your team composition, for any team composition anywhere in the game. Rise of Glory is that ability that we alluded to earlier in this guide, talking about what makes her more than an epic. There's no legendary in the game that can do this. Rise of Glory revives a dead ally on a 4-turn cooldown, fills their turn meter by 50% HP, and here's the big one, resets the cooldowns of all of their skills. This ability has allowed for GODSEEKER ANIRI to basically duo some of the most challenging content in Raid Shadow Legends, or just on a regular team. Namely, I'm talking about Sand Devil. So she can take there's a lot of champions that she can synergize with. She can take a Geomancer. She can take, like Iron Twins, you know. You can take a Geomancer, you can take a Ninja, you can take a Walking Tomb Drang, who I personally use. And once they die on that Sand Devil's A3 ability, she's going to revive herself with her passive that we haven't got to yet. And then she'll revive the Walking Tomb Drang or the Ninja to place all their fresh cooldown debuffs while the Sand Devil is asleep. And that's just one use case, but you can already see the inherent value in resetting the cooldowns of all of their skills when they die. And again, why that synergizes so well is a 4-turn cooldown Guardian Angel. I want to start with increase the amount of healing allies received by 10%. We mentioned this earlier. This passive effect is always active, okay? It's not on a 4-turn cooldown. The active part of it is on the 4-turn cooldown. If an ally is about to get killed, it preempts that hit. and then instantly places a revive on death. That's how she's able to revive 2 people at the same time, essentially, or close to the same time. Again, picture the Sand Devil coming in with a really hard nuke. Both her and whoever she's on the team with, Walking Tomb Drain, let's say, they both die. This is going to kick in, revive her with a passive, and then she revives the ally, Walking Tomb Dragon in this case. He has all his abilities reset, and then, as long as she's fast enough, in 4 more turns when they get wiped out again, we just repeat the process over and over again. But don't make any mistake about it. Again, guys, I'm talking about Sand Devil a lot, Hydra clan boss, support really in any dungeon in this game, especially in the early to mid game if you're lucky enough to pull a Godseeker Aniri. Duoing content all over the place, from Frost Spider to Iron Twins being a bastion of a lot of Iron Twins teams out there. Sand Devil, we already mentioned. This champion, Harrier, like, what the heck are you doing in my videos, dude? Get out of here, dude. See this up here? Oh, I swear he does it right when I'm recording. He knows. He knows. Viva la Harrier. What is he doing? Anyway, if this is your first time watching the content, I hate Harrier. He's like my most hated champion in the game. And I said that Godseeker Aniri was one of my most requested champions. And Harrier's probably number 1 because you guys love just letting me have it in the comments with the Harrier requests. One of these days I will get to it. I do promise, but I just can't. I can't bring myself to do it. All right, so let's take a look at how we have her built out in today's video here. By the way, guys, this is not going to age well. I like to make evergreen content here so that you can watch it years in the future, and it's still relevant, obviously, and pertinent. But we just hit, at real time, we just hit 10,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the 10K on this channel. That's really, really cool. All right, so here we go. Godseeker Aniri, we have her in Regeneration and Immortal. I love running her in Regen and Immortal. I love the heals because a build like this is going to help you out in the Sand Devil, in Iron Twins, in Hydra, keeping her healed and healthy the entire battle. We can't have her dying, right? I mean, I guess we could have her dying because of that passive, but we don't want her to die in most situations. And when we do, we'll purposely decide we want to be in control of when she dies. Not the enemy, not RNG, not Plarium, right? So we want her to stay alive. What better way to do it than get to 18% heal every single turn with the Regen and the Immortal? And you do need a build like this to do Sand Devil and the more difficult duo content out there, Frost Spider, Final Floor as well. So I love Regen and Immortal, and you can run this anywhere. You can run it anywhere, right? I've seen some people run her in Relentless, almost just to get these the increased duration up even more often, right? But that might be a little bit overkill. I mean, obviously, the more the merrier to some extent, but you might be able to just build her fast enough to just have this on a 3-turn cooldown without having the extra turns, right? The good thing about the extra turns, though, is it will reduce the cooldown of this A3 and reduce the cooldown of the passive as well, especially if you have a squishier team and people are dying a lot. So that's another alternative for you. You could also go with, maybe 1 perception piece, a defense, some speed gear, something like that. I want to make a note right off the bat here before we get into the masteries and the gear and everything. I want to point your direction at the accuracy. You have a decision to make on Godseeker Aniri. You can really go to maximize her HP, or you can go with an accuracy banner. And it all depends on if you're using her in Hydra Clan Boss, right? And even if you are using her in Hydra Clan Boss or another area where the buff reduction on this A2 requires accuracy, that's the only thing in her entire kit that does require accuracy. Where I'm using her on my account, I'm not using her on my Hydra team right now. I have in the past, and I loved her there, right? But how I'm using her, I don't need to decrease the duration of any buffs on any enemies. And again, this is for Iron Twins and Sand Devil and Frost Spider. Those are the 3 areas that I use her on my endgame account, okay? But you might want her. You might think that's really valuable to you, especially, again, if you're using her Hydra Clan Boss. You might want to decrease the duration of all buffs, especially if you don't have a lot of buff strippers or block buffs, debuffs on your team, in which case I would go ahead and swap out the banner from HP to accuracy to get that up higher, to get that number up higher, and maybe pick up an extra accuracy substat along the way. The best place to do that is obviously going to be from your amulet. Now, in this case, I guess we could bump up the accuracy a tiny bit. I didn't even notice that we had I'm just going to use a 1-star there. I didn't even know that 1 accuracy is going to make all the difference, man. I mean, Forget it. Now 106, forget everything I said. We're good to go. Jokes aside, I didn't know he had a quad roll there on HP. It is a flat stat HP, so nothing to write home about, but quad rolls are always something special, even if it's a crap stat, right? So we have HP on the amulet, we have HP on the ring, we have HP on the banner. Why do we have so much HP? It might be obvious to, longtime players or mid-game players, but for anybody who's new out there, we have a lot of HP because she's in regen gear. So the more HP we can stack on her when they're in regeneration in Immortal, the better, because we're going to get bigger heals and it's going to help her overall survivability. So we do prioritize HP over defense when we have regeneration, when we have bolster gear, when we have immortal gear on champions. So we did go a little bit. With all that said, we don't want to totally ignore defense. So what I love on this champion is going HP on all the accessories because it doesn't scale that well. 15k base HP. Percentage gear is only going to get you so far. So my favorite build is going HP, HP, HP on the banner, the ring, and the amulet as I showed you. And then going defense percentage on the gauntlets or the chest or both, and getting your HP from the substats as well. Again, we always talk about this here on the channel. Again, I feel like I repeat it every video now because I'm talking about builds every video here on the channel, but you really got to look at those base stats and think about what's going to scale better in flat stat versus HP percent, or versus percentage, excuse me. So we do have defense, we have defense here, or we have HP and defense, excuse me. As I mentioned, I try to go one of each on this champion in this particular build, and then we're looking for speed substats and a lot of it, right? The faster the better on this champion, particularly for the higher levels of, and again, this is this build I use on the final stage of both Sand Devil and Iron Twin, so she needs to be fast. I think the speed threshold is around 260 for Sand Devil, 20, forgot the final stage. We'll take a look at it in just a moment either way. So this is the build, guys. Again, speed is the most difficult thing to get on her. On this build, because again, 99 base speed to get her up this fast and still have enough HP and survivability, it's pretty challenging. I will say one final note, guys. I did used to have HP and HP, no defense. I had HP everywhere, and she actually died sometimes, not often, but maybe around like 5 out of every 100 runs, 10 out of every 100 in that threshold. And I don't want that, man. I don't want to waste any energy. Even if I'm saving a few seconds, I don't want to waste energy in this game. I want a 100% success rate if I can in any dungeon. So I swapped to the defense, and now she's staying alive every time, which is great. Actually, let's talk quickly about blessings. There's 2 blessings that I would recommend for this champion. Miracle Heal, which I have. This is going to give me a chance to restore max HP when healing. It's not a massive game changer. I do get the 3,000 HP, which is nice. And I think it's nice to restore depleted HP in battles. The other option would be Iron Will. You can go Miracle Heal for like Hydra, areas like that. Iron Will, decrease the damage this champion receives from enemy skills activated by other skills, or when enemies inflict damage when it's not their turn. This would be, good for Iron Twins. If you're leaning on her mainly for just Iron Twins, I'd probably go with Iron Will, but other areas I personally like Miracle Heal for this champion. I guess a third alternative too could be if you don't have anybody with intimidating presence on your team, nothing wrong with going with commanding presence on Godseeker Aniri. You still get extra HP and you strengthen your team's aura as well. I like to have at least one champion on my team with either commanding presence or intimidating presence, so I can get that aura strengthened and potentially deplete my enemy's aura as well, especially pertaining obviously to the arena. Anyway, let's go to our masteries here, guys. These are the masteries that I love on Godseeker Aniri. Some people recommend going offense tree and support tree. That's totally fine as well. If you want to go offense, I would just hug the left-hand side, come down and pick up War Master for a little bit of extra damage from this champion. She's not dealing a ton of damage anyway. Instead, I like going defense. I like coming down here. I think Resurgent is incredibly valuable mastery, basically anywhere in the game, especially for support champions. I picked up Shadow Heal along the way as well. I picked up Rejuvenation, again, increasing the amount of healing this champion receives. I'll take it. She is going to get those heals anyway. And then I come down to Retribution and Deterrence, a chance at counterattacking, which is nice because she has that albeit a small one, she has that heal on the A1. So the more triggers on that, the more healing we can do to whoever needs it most, whoever has the lowest HP on my team. Speaking of healing, I unabashedly went all in. I put my cards all in on the healing on this champion. So I went with HP, I went down Lay of Hands, I went Healing Savior, I went Merciful Aid, Cycle of Magic, Spirit Haste, and I came down with Elixir of Life, getting even more HP. I seldom go Elixir of Life. I think most people might want to go with Timely Intervention. Increases champion's turn meter by 20% whenever an ally hero drops below 25%. Just be careful. Timely Intervention could screw up your speed tuning if you were duoing content out there, or if you had her on a very specific speed tuned team, it can bump her ahead of whoever you want her going after, you know. So Timely Intervention is totally cool. I think I could probably get by with that, but I think Elixir of Life is almost the safe way. Coincidentally, you can actually get a lot of value out of this champion even without Masteries, you know, although I think she's worth the investment. Another way to build the support tree is going down for accuracy, going more accuracy, Swarm Smiter, Charge Focused, and then come down Lore of Steel, especially if you have, obviously, if you have basic artifact sets on her, and then you could still pick up Spirit Haste and go in whatever direction that you want to. Keep in mind that she is bringing no buffs to the table. For someone who's bringing so much to the table, buff extension is nice, but Lasting Gifts is not going to do anything on this champion. She has no buffs even on her revival, so no need to go in that direction. So there it is, guys. Let me show you a couple of the ways that I use this champion personally. I did mention, I'm not going to show you the Iron. I think that personally, no hate, but I guess hate. I think Iron Twins is the most boring fight to watch in the history of fights. So this is the team that I use. This is the laziest team known to man, guys. It really is. You know why? Because there's zero thought that went into it. But it works 100% of the time, right? I literally took 3 champions, no speed tuning whatsoever. I didn't change any of the gear I use on any of these champions. I use Helicath in my main clan boss team. I use him in Nether Spider. I use him in several other areas. I don't use Rush Card anywhere. I just threw on whatever gear he had on, some old crappy stuff. And then Warcaster is in my main clan boss team too. I just left whatever gear they had on them. The only thing I made special, in GODSEEKER ANIRI, same thing. I have her tuned for Sand Devil, but on Geo, I have him with just a lot of accuracy, really, right? 561 accuracy, and that's all I care about on Geo, so he can land his HP burn on the Iron Twin. So I just shoved all these champions together, the lazy man's team, and it works, you know? So it's block damage, block damage, block damage, block damage all over the place, and then GODSEEKER's there to keep everybody alive because it's not a perfect team. It's not infallible, so she'll revive all over the place when we need it, and she'll also reduce the cooldown. So again, I'm not going to show you this run because, well, just take my word for it. It works every time, and there's better teams out there, frankly, as well, but she is... I want to be very clear here. Don't hold the lazy team against her. She is a massive, massive foundation of, I want to say, the majority of later stage Ice Golem, Iron Twins teams that I see out there, okay? I'm also not going to show you, I will show you a Sand Devil run. I'm not going to show you this because it's RNG based. You guys know how Frost Spider works, right? You need to have the HP burn on the Frost Spider at the end, or it resurrects with 50% HP. Because of that, it can take up to like 5 minutes and 44 seconds. So it's kind of boring just watching Walking Tomb Drang place HP burns and watch them activate while GODSEEKER ANIRI revives and heals everybody, right? It's pretty boring, so I'm not going to show it. But that's the team, right? This is the final boss, Doom Tower hard. These two champions can easily just duo it, right? Easy. Eyes closed, 100% success rate. Same thing with, like I said, any dungeon. Hydra clan boss, she's a great healer, great reviver, but most importantly for Hydra clan boss, and I guess this pertains to Demon Lord too, bringing that buff extension is a game changer on that A2, especially considering she's also a reviver and a healer, right? So Sand Devil 25. Remember that, Ash. It's not that hard to remember. 15 stages in Iron Twins, 25 in Sand Devil. This is the team I use. I will run this team because I need some more oil. But it's the same team. It's the same team. The only thing to show you, the only 2 things that matters with this team, number 1 is we're not using Walking Tomb Drang's A3 ability. GODSEEKER's just fine here. Also, GODSEEKER is faster than Walking Tomb Drang. Keep that in mind. And most importantly, she needs to be in the lead, right? Because whoever's positioned earlier in the order is going to be the ally who's revived by her passive. Let me repeat that because it's important. It applies to more areas than just Sand Devil. Whoever is first in the rotation, and I have a whole, you can YouTube search Ash Raid rotation, I guess. Ash Raid rotation, you know, and it will show you all the reasons, and there's probably like 6 or 7 ways that the order of champions matters. Position 1 on Godseeker, position 2 on Tomb Lord, 3, 4, and 5. Those are the positions. Whoever's in the higher position is going to be revived first off that passive. So we need Godseeker to be revived first, thus being able to revive, Walking Tomb Drang after she's revived. Otherwise, if it was the other way around, it wouldn't work, right? Because they'd both die, and it would revive the first position, which would be Walking Tomb Drang, and then the next time he died, there'd be no one else left to revive him, right? So that's why that is important. Again, not just in Sand Devil, but anywhere that you're using this champion. So they both die. She gets revived first. She revives him. He comes in. All his cooldowns are reset. He comes in with his A1. He instantly activates the HP burn. You can use the same exact strategy with Ninja on stage 24, right? Because of the affinity, Force affinity versus Spirit affinity. Especially in Sand Devil, you want to make sure you're going anti-affinity because it's so challenging. This Sand Devil hits incredibly hard, right? The nice thing is we also have restoration of HP vis-a-vis our Miracle Heal. That can pertain also to the arena. Like, you can use, I've seen people use this champion in the arena as well on a go second team. It's just nice to have the 2 revives in there. The restoration, again, of HP. I feel like they're adding a lot of champions lately who decrease enemy max HP, right? And it's a nice mitigator for even like popular meta champions like Rhodos, who decreases max HP as he increases his own as well. So it's actually a nice ability to have there with the Miracle Heal. Guys, I'll come back. You can see how this jives, right? You get the point here. I'll come back at you at the end of this one, but it's as easy as this. It does take around 5 or 6 minutes, but for me at least, when I'm farming the later stages of Sand Devil, I just do it all when I'm sleeping. All right, guys, we are coming up to the end here. Hopefully that's our last burn, maybe one more. Oh, so close, so close. Either way, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this Godseeker Aniri guide here. I love this champion. I know a lot of you guys do too. If you pulled her, congratulations, because you have an amazing reviver, an amazing carry, and truly a legendary like epic inside the game who you can ride, through the beginning, through the mid, and well into the end game. Again, she's my most used epic. Her and Geo, I want to say, are definitely my most used epics on the entire account. So there we have it, guys. Give me those greater oils. All right, I guess I'll take some superiors. Give me them, give me them. I always forget what those graders and the superiors are called. So, hey, we will take it, guys. We will take the superiors. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.